All right. Well, a few of us appear to be here, coming in and out, and I'm sure people will, receive the full-length movie, the uncut version, the editor's cut. What do they call it? The director's cut. Director's cut. Yeah, that's it. Well, okay. So our minds are cleared. This is the result of carrot juice, tea, and cookies, right? The minds are cleared. One cannot see outside because it's pitch black. Yeah. And we're just faced with stanza number 9, which is sort of practical. We can make the analogy. It's all about the solar angels who refused. It's about the watchers who refused to get in there and do their job. Okay. Although DK sometimes has a different idea about that. He seems to say that when they did refuse, they had no choice but to refuse because of their particular state relative to the opportunity. Okay. Who? Well, they just hung out there in Pralaya, contemplating, meditating for eons. Yes, but there was some of this unpleasant Saturnian work to do, and they didn't want to do it. Were they? I don't know. I think if they were Aries, they might have plunged right in, don't you think? Even without thinking. Probably the Aries ones were the first ones. You kind of wonder whether solar angels do have astrological signs. Why not? The planetary logos does. Probably they're ruled by certain astrological energies. Well, let's read this one and see what we think. It has some very interesting ideas connected with it. And let's see. Okay. So this is stanza number 9. The 30,000 million watchers refuse to heed the call. We enter not the forms, they said, until the 7th eon. The twice 30,000 million hearkened to the call and took the forms designed. The rebellious ones laughed within themselves and sought pralaic peace until the 7th eon. But the 7 great lords called to the greater Chohans, and with the eternal laws of the 3rd cosmic heaven entered into debate. The dictum went forth. The laggards in the highest sphere heard it echo through the scheme. Not till the 7th eon, but at the 14th 7th will the chance again come round. The first shall be last, and time be lost for eons. The obedient sons of God, of mind, the obedient sons of mind, connected with the sons of heart, and evolution spiraled on its way. The sons of power stayed in their appointed place, though cosmic karma forced a handful to join the sons of heart. What's a handful in this case? 5 billion is a handful. Okay. At the 14th 7th eon, the sons of mind and heart, absorbed by endless flame, will join the sons of will in manvantaric manifestation. 3 times the wheel will turn. At the center stand the Buddhas of activity, helped by the lords of love, and following their twofold work will come the radiant lords of power. There's a lot of different lords in this particular one. We have to try to be straight as to who they are. The Buddhas of creation from out the past have come. The Buddhas of love are gathering now. The Buddhas of will, at the final turn of the 3rd major wheel, will flash into being. The end will then be consummated. Okay, that's it. What do you say? Any? Yeah. Well, well, you know, the forms would have been much more refined by the time the seventh round came, because they were, you know, the forms that they were asked to sort of animate and be part of were considered to be huge tabernacles of clay, and the forms were, in the words of the Tibetan, ill-favored, pretty ugly, big and ugly and thick and dense. And they said, we don't want rupas like that. We don't want to invest ourselves in that type of form. It was just sort of a distaste in a way. But then again, we have to find out from the Tibetan, some of this is sort of allegorical and in terms of human psychology, and it may be that the refusal was somewhat justified. I'll have to try to find what the DK said about the refusal to incarnate, because he did at one point seem to say that it was, I forget how he described it, it was an electrical thing. It was the fact of like repelling like, something like that. And it's somewhere in cosmic fire, and it's a polarity issue. And 30 billion, or 1/3 of 90 billion monads, apparently, or 90 billion solar angels who could, yeah, because something's wrong, because we do have the requisite number of units in our solar system. We do have 60 plus 140. We have the 200 billion units which we're supposed to have in this solar system. We have them. So maybe it's just some sort of allegorical way of describing this electrical event by which 1/3 of available solar angels did not enter. And then when would they enter? Well, you know, it was cast in terms of punishment, and maybe there is punishment, I'm not sure, but it would not be until much later, and maybe that entry much later would be suitable somehow. So I'll try to find what DK said about this. When you read this, do you think it has any relevance to your own life? Or does it seem like really remote, you know? So what? 30 billion solar angels refuse to incarnate. So what? But it's kind of nice to know how the planet works, isn't it? Yeah, because, you know, one day many of us may be solar angels, you know, and may we choose correctly. But I'm trying to think, you know, if all 30 billion came in, then we would have 230 billion units in the second solar system, which would not be the appropriate number. 100 billion for the first solar system, 200 billion for the second major, and 300 billion for the next solar system. And they will be somehow amalgamated lives. Let's see if I can maybe find that. I'm not sure that I can, 300 billion. But it's interesting numbers. And then all told, we have 600 billion units. But some of them may be repeats. Okay, 300 billion. Let's see if no items match this search. Okay, let's see. It's probably, I wonder if it's over here. Maybe, maybe it's like this. 200,000. No? Oh, that's hundred. That's why. 200,000 million. Well, let's see what we have. Yeah, here it is. Here is the statement from a treatise on cosmic fire. In the first solar system, there was one dominant evolution, and it consisted of 100,000 million monads. It wasn't maybe Davic, and it wasn't human. That's kind of interesting, you know, because usually we think, well, there were human beings in the previous major solar system. What was that evolution? What were these beings? In the present system, the second, there are two dominant evolutions, the human and the Deva. there are, as stated earlier, 60,000 million human monads. Add to this the feminine evolution of the devas, consisting of 140,000 million, and you have the necessary 200,000 million. This elucidates my statement anent this being a feminine solar system, a largely Devic solar system. In the third solar system, the total number in evolution will be the needed 300,000 million that perfection requires of the threefold logos. So, it depends. There are some repeats. Otherwise, you could say, well, there are 600,000 million, or what would we say, 600 billion units. But there are some overlaps. For instance, a number of the Ray 3 monads from the earlier solar system have come into this one. A number of the Ray 2 monads will come into the next, or the third major solar system, and many of the Ray 1 monads will really flourish, that we have now, the Ray 1 monads, the handful, will really flourish in the next solar system. So I don't think we can come to any conclusions exactly about how many exactly will be there. But this gives some idea of the scope, doesn't it? And I think we see that this number, 60,000 million, or 60 billion, as we might say, is a solar systemic number. It cannot be applied to any one of the planets. In other words, our planet doesn't have 60 billion monads. The whole solar system has 60 billion human monads of the conscious kind, and 140 billion of the Devic monads. And I'm not just talking about little elemental lives. Obviously, every little atom is a life, an elemental life. So we cannot count all the trillions of atoms that we have as if they were monads. So are these numbers interesting? 1, 2, 3, right? A greater number of lives in the next solar system. You almost wonder whether they're putting the first two together. 1 + 2 = 3. But it's not the case, because I'm sure that there are many lives that have been in the first solar system, the first major solar system, which have moved on to other solar systems and are not involved in ours at all. And many will take paths, cosmic paths, from this solar system, which will lead away from any possibility of involvement in the third part of this solar system. All of that is the facts and figures controlled by the hierarchy. We don't have really any idea about how many there will be. It doesn't concern us. It's not our business. Nice to know, but it's not our business. Okay. So let's see what we want to say about this. So we're going to study the nature and consequences of the sin of those who refused to incarnate in the forms of animal man, thus creating the human kingdom. So, there's some place that is said that if more of the solar angels or Agnishvatas had incarnated, then the sin of the mindless would not have happened. The sin of the mindless was involved with the mating of the sort of animal, almost individualized man with other beasts who were of lesser nature, creating an animalistic taint in the human family. It sounds like a real disaster, and it sounds like the refusal of the solar angels, certain of them, to get in there and straighten man out so he knew what he was doing, was actually creating this malfunction in the system, so that forms that were never intended were created. Among them, presently, the anthropoid apes. This is coming from the Secret Doctrine. They were fascinated with monkeys in those Darwinian days. But anyway, the anthropoid apes apparently are the product of the sin of the mindless, and as well as a number of other monstrous type of beings that appeared. There have been, apparently, according to the Secret Doctrine, many monster types on our planet, which were never intended by God's plan. It just was the wrong kind of mixture. Sometimes the solar angels were involved in destroying those beings. And we also realize and have been told that there were these big electrical storms that happened when individualization came, and the solar angels came in, and huge numbers of animal forms were destroyed. I was reading one of my friends who researches these matters places the dying out of the dinosaurs at the time when man's individualization occurred. So there are all kinds of, we'll read stanza number 10, which is very, very long, and try to discuss some of these prodigies or monstrosities of nature which have been non-archetypal and which appeared on our planet, this planet of many, many forms. And not all of them regulated by the grand design whatsoever. So, you know, by comparison, we're looking pretty good to what had happened in the past. Although Madame Blavatsky calls us all pygmies, you know. We're 5 feet tall or 6 feet tall or maybe 7 feet tall. And, you know, the men of the fourth root race and the fourth subrace were 27 to 30 feet tall. And they were very beautiful under the number 4, and we've shrunk quite a bit, you know. But supposedly our intelligence should be growing. Anyway, it's like truth being stranger than fiction. People hear about this stuff from the secret doctrine and they say, well, you know, you're reading a comic book or something. But this is apparently supported by the history of the planet and by the records. So somehow we have to bring this out to people, and we have to say, well, look, the ancient doctrine is of one piece. If you accept part of it, then why should you necessarily refuse the other parts which don't agree with you? Maybe learn more about it, you know. So there, you know, the whole history of the giants is part of the Bible and other holy books. They talk about those earlier evolutions of massive creatures. So there was a time when human beings were maybe 100 feet tall. Apparently, I was told, you know, those statues, Buddha-type statues in Afghanistan, which were blown up by the radicals, they were representations of the early stature of early man. So they had a great meaning behind them. But obviously, the destructive forces come in, and they don't want to acknowledge that kind of thing. Anyway, page 110 and 109. In Esoteric Healing is this story of the 100 billion, 200 billion, 300 billion. We live in a feminine solar system, largely ruled by the Deva kingdom. That's the state that our solar logos is in at this time. Okay, so the nature of sin. And sometimes DK does not look at this as the sin of rebellion. I wish I could find that. Like, you know, it's probably in the secret doctrine. It's probably in the like polarity. I'm going to just try that. Polarity. No, that's not like. No, I'm not going to find that. I don't want to take the time to do it. But he gives kind of the electrical explanation for the refusal to incarnate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a Fohatic thing. It has to do with polarities that just could not get together because they repelled. Like, repelled. How do you spell repelled? Repel. Like, repel. Let's try that. Repel, like. Okay, I would like. Well, you know, it's known that like particles repel each other. But this is not the reference point. He did explain that. Let's just look at the word refusal, incarnate. There's 2. Let's see if there's anything else. The refusal to the refusal to incarnate is not found only on spiritual levels, but is found also on that of the higher self. Certain developments, also incidental to the factors of time and space, were aimed at by the ego, etc., etc. Let's see. Relation of egos to other egos. And, men of this type often refused to incarnate earlier as the bodies were too coarse. But not exactly. This is actually men who are refusing to incarnate, not solar angels. This was the cyclic reflection on the lowest plane of the refusal of the monads to incarnate. Maybe it is, at the dawn of manvantaric opportunity. This is it. No real sin was committed. It was their privilege to discriminate, and this refusal has its bearing upon conditions upon the earth, being the basis of the great class distinctions which, in every land, have been so fruitful of trouble, and the esoteric foundation of the caste system now abused in India. Well, no, this is not it, but it is very, the equipped and unequipped monads. But this is one of those important statements about the choice. But these are monads refusing to incarnate. Well, and the watchers too, you see. Maybe certain monads wanted to incarnate but didn't have sufficient watchers to make the link. Anyway, this will require a little bit of research. Refusal to incarnate. He says no real sin was committed. It may be kind of a sin, but no real sin, you know. And because if there had been this kind of incarnation of the monads, there would be less gap between certain classes on the earth, which are now having trouble getting along, such as witnessed in the difference between the very intelligent and those who are not, and the selfishness of those who are very intelligent. So it's the capital and labor problem, as he talked about. Yeah, well, I can't find it. I'm not gonna try right now, although maybe it's in my references. It's not worth going after it right this moment. Okay. The 30,000 million watchers refused to heed the call. Well, we've been talking about watchers. What have they been mostly? You know, in a way, a monad is a watcher, but we've been talking about the watchers of flame and so forth, right? So who have they been? They have been the solar angels. The watchers of flame have been the solar angels, right? Okay, they refused to heed the call. That means the 30 billion watchers refused to heed the call of the solar logos and our planetary logos. Basically, a big order comes out. This is what we're doing, cooperate, and they say no. So this concerns our planetary logos particularly, but there's probably a planetary history for all of the planets, but we're most concerned with our own. The watchers are of many kinds, as we have established, but the kind of watcher we seem to be dealing with here, Agnishvatas, Lords of the Flame, Solar Angels, what was that? Watchers of the Flame, is that how it was called? Let's see. Let me go over here and see what is that. Control F. Okay, let's see. Watchers of the Flame. Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing? They did seem to be solar angels. Yeah, that was it. Watchers of the Flame. The full tone smote on the ears of the watchers of the flame. They are lords of the flame. They are solar angels. Now, there are so many different kinds of beings that are mentioned in this particular stanza that we may have trouble sort of assigning them all. You know, because sometimes, well, we'll get to it, but sometimes the term used for the solar angels, like son of mind, is also a term used for the men. So we have to try to discriminate. There's about 10 different names given here. We have to see what we can do. Okay. We enter not the forms, they said, until the 7th eon. Well, what is the 7th eon from our perspective, now that we know what an eon is? What is the 7th eon? An eon is basically a what? It's a round. It's a manvantara of the round type. And it's probably a chain round and not a scheme round, because that would really be waiting to the bitter end. You know, in other words, it's probably having to do with our Earth chain, that they're saying, okay, in round number 7 of our Earth chain, we will enter, which is not so far ahead, just a number of hundreds of millions of years. So this was the choice of 30 billion solar angels, Agnishvatas apparently, and is it justified or not? It depends upon the account studied. DK, let's write this down. DK said in relation to certain monads that no real sin was involved. But monads are not solar angels. And now what page was that on that we just were reading? No real sin was involved. 827, 825, and 826. TCF 825. It's just a question of duty, you know. We human beings face this all the time. You know, the call goes forth, do this. Well, DK students face this. DK, you know, he says, look, I'm not interested in you thinking up some bright new idea of how you're going to have a group service. I've already told you what I need. I need the triangles. I need the goodwill. You know, I need your work in the arcane school, whatever. I've told you where you can throw your energy into. But of course, they had other ideas they'd rather do. So that's not so far away from how we are, is it? My soul told me, Master, I shouldn't do your work. I have my own work. Well, what kind of soul is that? Okay, no real sin is involved, said DK, but that's in relation to the monads. These rebellious ones did not want to enter those huge, ugly tabernacles of clay, as is spoken in the secret doctrine. I wonder if I can find the word ill-favored. That's kind of an interesting word, isn't it? Let's see. Let's see if we can find that word. Ill. How do you spell favored in English? Yes, that's why I wasn't finding it before. These ill-flavored forms. Okay, here we go. This is what's going on here. Egos individualized elsewhere. This is necessarily a profound effect. This is touched upon in the secret doctrine when the question of the early teachers and divine kings who occupied the ill-favored bodies of early humanity is broached. So great beings had to go down into ugly forms, and not all of them wanted to do that. At least ugly by their standards, because they were Venusian in their nature. So they probably had great beauty, you know, in their own way. And yet it's a great sacrifice, you know, to enter the ill-favored bodies of the early humanity. Okay, this is very, I don't know, it's so interesting, you know, to study very carefully. But it's the British spelling that made it difficult for me to find it earlier. Okay, moving right along, if my computer would just move. See, at this time of the day, it says, you're making me go too fast. I'm afraid so. It's just really terrible because, you know, I'm supposed to have a relatively fast computer here, and it is rebelling. The rebellion of the mindless, really, you know. All right, no real sin. The rebellious ones did not want to enter those huge tabernacles of clay, let's call it ill-favored forms of page 853. Okay. TCF, whoops, that's no good, sorry. Little ill-favored forms of page TCF 853. Good. We can wonder whether the rebellious ones, those who would be willing to incarnate in advanced animal forms with the earth chain, and not all were destined, one thinks, for the earth chain or even the earth scheme, were seeking to wait until the 7th round of the earth chain or the 7th scheme round of all the chains in the earth scheme, and I think the first one is involved. In other words, this is the issue going on our earth chain, because otherwise the punishment that they are given is immense, and it would just take so long that the whole solar system would be finished, including the next solar system and the next solar system. So probably it's a chain round we're talking about. So it seems likely that their not relay but reply would be related to the first alternative, which still would require hundreds of millions of years of delay, more likely perhaps billions of years. So it's a long time. So here's an important statement, however, regarding the number of units of stars which are in and out of incarnation. The confines of the heaven themselves are illimitable and utterly unknown. Naught but the wildest speculation is possible to the tiny finite minds of men, and it profits us not to consider the question. Go out on some clear starlit night, and seek to realize that in the many thousands of suns and constellations visible to the unaided eye of man, and in the tens of millions which the modern telescope reveals, there is seen the physical manifestation of as many millions of intelligent existences. This infers that what is visible is simply those existences who are in incarnation. Now, there's a reason for me getting into this, but only 1/7 of the possible appearances are incarnating. 6/7 are out of incarnation, waiting their turn to manifest and holding back from incarnation until, in the turning of the great wheel, suitable and better conditions may eventuate. Now, this may relate somewhat to this sin of holding back, saying not yet, which man interprets in kind of an allegorical way, like a story, like a soap opera, but it may all be governed by law, right? So now think about this as it applies to planets. This is about stars. What happens if this applies to human monads, which are like stars? We have an interesting situation with 7 billion people on this planet, don't we? If 7 billion is 1/7, or 6 billion is 1/7, then how many human beings are out of incarnation? How many human monads? Another 42 billion. See, 7? In other words, 49 altogether. Well, this is a problem. Like I said the other day, you only have 60 billion in the whole solar system, and the Earth has absorbed 49 billion of them. Something's wrong. They can't be distributed over all the planets of the solar system, including the 115 extras, a total. So there's something we don't know about the numbers. But anyway, this is the idea of who goes in and who stays out. 1/3 of these watchers of the flame refuse to come in. Is there a refusal? Is that a human projection? They refused. Or is it divine timing interpreted by man as a soap opera? You know how the Puranas were, and those Hindu sort of allegorical stories? They made them interesting, dramatic. But maybe there was a rigid law, electrical law behind this whole thing. Maybe they just couldn't come in. Yes, yes. Well, by the it may have been part of the plan, which is what I'm trying to say. But how the dramatic tendency in humanity describes these things, it tells it like a story. It puts it in terms of human psychology. It's not that the electrical polarity of this group of possible incarnatees did not match with the electrical conditions. It wasn't put in fifth-grade language. It'd say they refused, and they laughed, blah, blah, blah. Well, these are initiates of all degrees, and here they are laughing at the plan of God. Something's wrong. It's a story. So electrically, probably they could not come in because the polarity was not right. Look, why in the days of individualization were only the highest forms of animal man selected for the entry of the solar angels? Why were a number of them left out? It wouldn't have worked, right? If you tried to select lower animal forms for the individualization process, even individualization as it occurred almost didn't happen. It almost didn't work out. Only in the end of Lemuria did the solar angels know that it had actually worked. So just imagine selecting lower forms, but then suppose a mythologist or a storyteller gets a hold of this story, and they rejected the ones who were so-and-so and drove them out of the garden, blah, 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 and refused to associate. It's the dramatic flair in storytelling that humanity has. A purely scientific electrical condition is elaborated in a story to make it interesting, when in fact it might have been just how things were. So anyway, I look at it as part of the plan, but, let's just see. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Is there anything that is happening that's not part of the plan? So you could say, well, the willful refusal of certain very intelligent beings to acquiesce to the major energy of this solar system the second ray is not part of the plan. That is actually a choice to repudiate the demand of higher beings at this time to appropriate the second ray energy. And this is what the Black Lodge does. It tries to stick with the energy of the previous solar system because it gave them certain powers and prerogatives which they don't want to give up, and that's not part of the plan. Yeah. Well, you know, and look at your own life. Is there anything you do in your own life that is not part of the plan? See, it gets to the question of predestination, doesn't it? And free will. Obviously, in our typical day, there are many moments when we do things that are not part of the plan, right? And there are probably those moments when we're so attuned and we really say, well, the plan requires this, and this is what I will do. I would say a lot of actions are not fitting with what is intended. But there is also this more dangerous, willful refusal to go along with the main program of hierarchy. In fact, rejecting and repudiating that plan. And that is a choice. In other words, there's two kinds of evil on our planet, right? Is it not so? Residual, or let's just call it the evil of ignorance and the evil of willful rejection. The second, the first you can outlive, no problem. You're just ignorant, you do the wrong thing. But then the evil of willful rejection, you know better, you know what's required, and you willfully set yourself against that. That is what the Black Lodge has done. The forces of obstruction. There's somewhere in here where they say, oh, this is no good. The forms look too good. We have to stop this. The forms of the third and the fourth approach the archetype. We have to stop this. Those are willful forces of rejection. Okay. So yes, I believe in free will within limits. Free choice within limits. So we have to realize, we must factor in the realization that there are 60 billion monads, okay, etc., etc. There's a problem with enumeration. I talked about that. And we have to see whether this 60 billion, whether it really means the Earth scheme. There's a problem with the figures. 60 billion human monads just doesn't seem enough to go around with 115 plus planets in our solar system, all of which have, or many of which have men. It's not enough. It leaves only 11 billion. There's Earth and another 114 planets, and it leaves 11 billion. Something is wrong. Well, what I'm trying to say, there wouldn't be enough to evolve on these other planets if Earth had absorbed 49 billion of them. See what I mean? There's something wrong with the figures. And, of course, it's a blind. It's an occult blind. You know, they guard these figures so carefully. When you are really in the inner circle and have proven the worthiness of the inner circle, then, and if it's useful, we will learn and know what these figures are. Even the figures Blavatsky gave us, with all these Manvantaras and Yugas and Kalpas and Mahakalpas and so forth, they are not absolutely the real figures, but they are maybe close. We're also ignorant of this stuff, you know. This is a great opportunity, the opening of a door into the ageless wisdom where we could never find this out by ourselves. Unless... Yes. Has there been... Yes, Cosmic Fire is a nursery rhyme. Kind of, in a way, absolutely. He says, how can I put this in language you can understand? He oftentimes says that. So, you know, Jesus did this all the time too, didn't he? He was speaking in parables. He said to his circle gathered around him, I'm speaking to them in parables. I'm going to tell you what's really happening. Okay, to you I speak of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven. To them I speak in parables. Well, DK says, look, I could never talk about these things in a book meant for exoteric publication, including Cosmic Fire. So there are so many things that are retained in the oral tradition and cannot be put down in the written. But, well, why? because the Black Lodge is trying like mad to find out what is the plan. So it's very interesting that the hierarchy has to prevent them from finding out the plan and at the same time prevent humanity from moving too fast into the plan while still encouraging humanity to move into the plan. What a balancing act the hierarchy has to take with respect to knowledge of this kind. He even says, look, I'm not going to tell you the name of this constellation because if a bunch of you got together and started meditating on this, so much love energy would flood the earth as to create a serious imbalance and difficulty in the earth evolution. See, so, how much knowledge should we have? How much knowledge can we use? Right now what we're doing is we are trying to have enough knowledge to get a vision of the God's intention so that we can be inspired by it and inspire others. At least that's something. Get us moving in the right direction. That's something. Okay, let's see. Here's a quotation which applies to the 60 billion. Yes, and I gave that to you. The twice 30,000 million hearkened to the call and took those ill-favored forms which were designed, which were Lemurian in nature, which were huge, ugly, and crude. Okay, these were what we call the cooperative watchers. They hearkened to the will of the solar logos and the need of our planetary logos. And I want to put in here that in a way, this was an example of, what's the word? Occult obedience. Now, you don't have to listen to what the master says or what their master said. You don't have to. But if you do, then you will go in the right direction. Just like that story of the man who was told, write a book on the way into Shambhala. No, he didn't. He wrote a book on the high walk of discipleship. In other words, he wrote a sixth-ray book and not a first-ray book. So he just played into his own sort of sixth-ray energy, which had to be outlived. He did it because he thought it was the right thing to do, but he didn't listen. He'll listen in his next life, for sure. That's the way you learn. Big mistakes protect you in the future. Okay, so anyway, we want to know one day how many of these 60 billion are associated with our Earth. And sometimes I wish I knew whether it's 60 billion or 600 billion that are in our solar system of men, because 60 billion is too small. Anyway, the forms designed, these were not good forms, but anyway, they were good enough for the time being. Do you ever have to undertake a task which you really detest and you don't want to do? A dirty job, which you'd really rather do something else. This is it. This is a dirty job. Just imagine cleaning the latrines, for 10 years of your life or something. Then just imagine what the solar angels have to do. He says, you people don't realize it, but to spend a little time in your aura is just as bad for us as it is for you to spend time in the sleeping chamber of a person who's living a soiled and dirty life. So that puts things in proportion, right?
It's amazing, though, that even then there was obsession with form. We always think we're in such a fallen world now because we are so obsessed with form. And yet it's so interesting that
it's been an issue all along. Look at this. Now this is discipleship of the New Age. Forget not, any of you, that for senior disciples upon the path such as I am, it is relatively as unpleasant from the vibratory angle to contact you and spend some time within the radius of your aura as it would be for you to enter the sleeping room of those of soiled environment and persons. Meaning prostitutes, pimps, all the rest of it. You know what I mean? This is what he's talking about. So we go into the worst neighborhoods and go into the sleeping rooms of these people who are living these soiled lives. And I have to spend time in your aura? is vibrationally unpleasant. So we don't have a sense of proportion about this. This this is pretty funny. It puts things in proper perspective. Page 480 in Discipleship 1. That's not what people are used to being told. They're used to being told by fake masters how wonderful they are. Instead of, it's really repulsive to be around you. This is not what you want to hear. Okay. But I think it's funny. Anyway, the rebellious ones, is this a story or what? The rebellious ones said, ha, 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 The rebellious ones laughed within themselves and sought pralaic peace until the seventh eon. I just want to keep meditating instead until the seventh eon. Don't bother me. Well, obviously, this is partially a story, But they remained in a pralaic state on higher dimensions. And as a matter of fact, it even said, what did it say upon the highest plane, did it say? Later? The laggards in the highest sphere heard it echo through the scheme. Where are these laggards? It says the highest sphere? Are they on the logoic plane? Where are they? This is very interesting. Sometimes a little hint is given. Where are these laggards hanging out? What's the other way the word laggard is used in occultism? There was a problem between the previous solar system and this one. The word laggard is used. It's okay. Well, it's about those who failed in the first solar system. They're called laggards. They didn't make the grade, and then they were transferred over to our solar system. And also, don't forget, it is the race of men, isn't it? The word race has a double meaning, doesn't it? So it's also the grouping of men, but it's also an effort to move with speed, a race. And within that race, there are laggards through inattention, not using their opportunities. Maybe many of us have been laggards because we've been delayed in the moon chain and so forth. We have not used our opportunities and we have fallen behind. So there is a sense of urgency about this. Okay, now let's see. The rebellious ones laughed within themselves and sought pralaic peace until the seventh aeon. Well, was it really laughter? So that's what I've been saying. What is pralaic peace? It's not a state of inactivity. Something of value or interest is occurring. They like to meditate. They are contemplatives. They are divine contemplatives. And they are probably doing things of importance to them on the higher levels. And maybe they are meant to. Maybe this is just a whole story. Look at this whole story about Adam and Eve, and they are driven out of the Garden of Eden, as if they really sinned or something. Maybe it's not a sin at all. Maybe it just had to happen in order to become individualized and so forth. Maybe they're driven out of the sense of unity into a new state of consciousness, which is based upon their individualization. Maybe that happened. So you have to differentiate between the story that is told with its mythological flair and what may have actually happened scientifically. So something of value is happening for them. And what did I say here? I have sometimes wondered whether those who refused were really waiting for the coming in of the individualized egos from the first solar system or from the moon chain. But actually, that doesn't really hold water because they would have come in much before the seventh eon. It doesn't really make sense. Okay. As for the first solar system egos, they entered even before individualization, so it doesn't make sense. These watchers are waiting for a much later time. The definition of the word eon, either a chain round or a scheme round, one complete circle, is probably a chain round. Okay. But the seven great lords called to the greater Chohans. Now remember, there are no human Chohans yet, are there? Individualization has not yet occurred, right? This is preparing for individualization, so there's no Master Morya, Master Jesus, whatever, not human Chohans. So these are different kinds of high priests, so to speak. The seven great lords called to the greater Chohans. And what did they say? Let's take a look. Okay. And the eternal laws of the third cosmic heaven entered into debate. Well, okay, this is a big issue. Who are the seven great lords? Who are the greater Chohans? And who are the eternal laws in the third cosmic heaven? Okay, let's see if we can answer some of that. Do you have any ideas about this? Seven great lords, greater Chohans, and eternal laws in the third cosmic heaven entered into discussion, as is often done in hierarchy. Who are these beings? What do you think? It could be the Ray Lords. It could be the planetary logoi as Ray Lords. They could be calling to their teachers. And it could be the seven rishis. Could be, indeed. And the eternal laws of the third cosmic heaven. What is the third cosmic heaven? Third cosmic heaven, likely, possibly. It's not the third heaven. What is it? Okay, well, that's it. See, the third heaven is the mental plane. But this is the cosmic mental plane. No? Yeah, cosmic mental plane, that's what you meant. Okay, third cosmic heaven, the cosmic mental plane. So this is a very high issue because on one of the planets operative here, the will of the Solar Logos is apparently not being followed. So let's take a look at these possibilities. Okay. So the seven great lords can be the seven Kumaras of the Earth scheme, three of them esoteric, but could be that, or we could be dealing with the Ray lords who are planetary logoi, as this is a solar systemic problem on Earth. So it's either the Kumaras of the Earth scheme. It's possible. There are seven of them. Three of them esoteric, or it could be the Ray Lords. And we are dealing with greater Chohans. There are not yet any ashrams of human beings, so it could be, I say, the seven chain lords of the Earth scheme, seven globe lords of the Earth chains possible, or above, since the who is doing the calling? Since the seven great lords called to the greater Chohans, or above and higher. Since the seven great lords are calling upwards, it seems, towards perhaps the seven rishis. Well, that's really high, maybe, or some higher prototypical seven. Okay, maybe. In terms of the spiritual status, it would seem that seven intraplanetary Kumaras of each planetary scheme would be of a higher nature than the lords of the chains and globes. Anyway, the laws of the third cosmic heaven entered into debate. Who are these laws? Does the term law relate to any being that we are familiar with? LHA? By the way, think about one of the main cities in Tibet, Lhasa. It probably is given to the communication with very high beings, right? So, are the solar angels ever called laws? They are they not? Okay, there are laws within the cosmic physical plane, for the term law is generic, but the laws here meant are laws focused upon the cosmic mental plane, that plane whereon the causal body of our solar logos and planetary logos are focused. So maybe we are dealing with the prototypes of the solar angels on the cosmic mental plane. Are we dealing with the prototypes of the solar angels on the cosmic mental plane? Maybe. Anyway, very high beings get together, say, look, there's a planetary problem on Earth, and extraplanetary advice is needed, even from the cosmic mental plane. Of course, does any part of our planet exist on the cosmic mental plane? Any part of the Earth exist on the cosmic mental plane? Or not? Where is the causal body of our planetary logos? Where's the causal body of the solar logos? What plane? You know this. You actually know this. And in just a moment you're going to know you know it. Right? Take a look at this. Take a look at this map. Causal body of the solar logos exists. Right. And so does the causal body of our planetary logos. They're just on different subplanes of the cosmic mental plane. So part of our planetary logos is right there. There are eternal laws on this plane. There are solar angels of huge scope who make up the egoic body of our solar logos. Maybe those are the eternal laws of the cosmic mental plane. Anyway, very big beings are being called into this discussion. Look, sometimes what we little human beings do is of importance. Remember the story that in the 3rd year of World War I, there was almost an intervention into our planet by a great being. Was it Shambhala that was going to intervene in World War I? No. It was the Solar Logos himself who was going to intervene in World War I in the 3rd year. Isn't that an incredible thought? And we're told, fortunately, man worked out his own problems. And, you know, that was a decisive year. 1917, America entered the war, maybe other things happened. They worked it out without the intervention of the Solar Logos. So, you know, when something happens that concerns the awakening of the planetary heart on our Earth, it is a solar systemic and even a cosmic issue, because these are chakras in greater beings. So it doesn't sound so far-fetched, does it? Okay. Okay. Great beings, let's just say, in essence, since we cannot know all the details, great beings conferred and decided on a course of action which was retributive. It's kind of like paying back. You want to do this? These are the consequences. So the dictum went forth. There is a karmic price for refusing one's spiritual duty. Have you ever refused your spiritual duty? Or are you lucky enough not to have done so? Have you ever been occultly disobedient? Have you ever found that there was a consequence for occult disobedience? I'm trying to think, you know, it's not something you can necessarily come up with at the drop of a hat. But there are always consequences to occult disobedience. Yeah, we've refused to follow the suggestion of our soul. That's like the very, you know, what is it? Inquire the way, follow the inner impulses of the soul, pay no attention to worldly advice, and set an example. Those are the 4 rules in white magic. So the second one, inquire the way, means, you know, keep asking yourself, but obey the inner impulses of the soul. Well, he says, when you have a soul impulse, you have to carry it out immediately. So obviously, many of us have not done that all the time. And there are consequences. Delay, mainly. So often what do they call it? In all these financial discussions today, of all that's going on, they talk about kicking the can down the road. This is the image. Instead of picking up the can, removing it from the road because it's dangerous, you kick it down the road. I'll solve the problem later. I'll solve the problem later, etc. Not now, not now. It's sloth again. Well, sure. You know, and the astral body, humanity's astral body is a problem, you say, and it's a problem with all of us because we are fearful. That's what he says. The main dweller on the threshold is fear for the whole entire planet. So why don't we do the things that we should do? There's a fear of the consequences. So you just kind of later. I'll take care of it later. It's procrastination based on fear. Anyway, these high beings, these Agnishvatas, these watchers of the flame, they apparently refused. So what is the karma? The laggards in the highest sphere heard it echo through the steam. What is the highest sphere? What is the highest sphere? Is it Buddhic or is it logoic? Maybe. The question is, where does the solar angel really focus? Well, we've seen in the map the solar angels, Agnishvatas, are focused on the Buddhic plane. Does he really mean the highest sphere, or in a very high sphere, or the highest sphere where solar angels can be found? Anyway, they're in a high place, and they're contemplating, and they're enjoying their freedom from form. After all, they've earned the right. They've gone to the cosmic astral plane. They've gone to Sirius. They've come back as solar angels. The rebellious watchers are here called laggards. And there's a number of ways to use that term. Okay. Note the use of the word scheme. The laggards in the highest sphere heard the dictum, the karmic dictum, echo through the scheme. So apparently we are dealing with the Earth scheme, even though there are solar systemic references which give the larger context. Let's see. The beings who are deciding are above the scheme level. But their dictum comes to the scheme. Now, we can call the whole solar system a scheme in a way, but I think what we're talking about is the results of their choices echoing through the planetary scheme. Not till the 7th aeon, but at the 14th seventh will the chance come round again. What do you make of this? Not till the 7th eon of the Earth chain's rounds, but to the 14th seventh before the chance will come round again. What occurs to you as you think of that? The numbers. 14th seventh. Well, how often does a seventh occur? You know, every 7 rounds a seventh occurs. There's many ways to look at this, but every 7 rounds a seventh occurs. So here we are. We're on the 4th chain. We will have 1/7. The 5th chain will have 1/7. The 6th chain will have 1/7. The 7th chain will have 1/7. If we're talking about chain rounds, right? That's 4. Let's go into the next solar system. The 1st chain will have 1/7. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. We've got 11 sevens. And we have exhausted the possibilities of the 3rd major solar system. You know, I mean, this is just interpretive. I'm not sure this is correct, obviously. 11 sevens have transpired, and the next solar system is over. Let's say, will the Earth appear in the next solar system? Will the planetary logos of the Earth appear in the next solar system? That is a question. What do you think? And do you intend to be on it? Where are you going, to heaven? Yeah, get out of here, get to Sirius. And then when you go to Sirius to become what? On Sirius? Solar angel. Then what? Then what? Well, you have to come back, don't you? Sorry. Well, hey, it was a 3rd-ray planet. By the time this 2nd-ray solar system is over, and our planetary logos has taken the 4th or 5th cosmic initiation, it won't be a specifically 3rd-ray planet anymore, will it? But will our planetary logos show up in the next solar system? What do you think? And why do you think it? Well, has he exhausted all of his cosmic initiations? Maybe not. Well, it's just like saying, will the solar logo show up in his next solar system? And these logoi, these planetary logoi, are his chakras. So will he show up without one of his chakras? You know, that's one way of looking at it. But there's a more specific way of looking at it. What's the monadic ray of our planetary logos? What's the major ray of the next solar system? There it is. So he's the base of the spine center. The base of the spine center is ruled by the first ray. And our solar logos will take what initiation? Probably in this solar system. Our solar logos will take through his solar system at this time, maybe the fifth if he's good, but certainly the fourth. It's left ambiguous. He will take the fourth, he might take the fifth. But what else? There's more, aren't there? So what if he doesn't take the fifth initiation? What if he defers it to the next? And certainly the sixth will be taken in the next solar system. The first ray is very much needed, isn't it? So our planetary logos with its first ray monad is supplying that first ray to the solar logos, and so will show up there to act as the base of the spine center, very active in these forthcoming initiations. So I think our planetary logos will take the fourth or fifth cosmic. The solar logos will take the fourth or fifth cosmic. Our planetary logos will go with the solar logos into the next solar system. And therefore, who knows what the structure will be, but we'll have rounds, so to speak. We'll have rounds and eons. And yet, if it's anything like what we've got now, well, you know, I just thought of something. I just thought of something very interesting. What if, that's a what if the number 9 is as important in the next solar system as the number 7 is in the present, and as the number 5 was in the past? You see what I'm driving at? In other words, the number 9 is the number of the next solar system. He tells us that. It's the system of Shiva, completion. The number 7 is the number of this solar system. The number 5 was the number of the previous solar system. You see what I'm driving at? So we could say, oh, wait, there's only room for 7 sevens in the next solar system, and 4 are in this one. But maybe there's room for 9 sevens, or something like that, according to the number 9. In other words, the way I've looked at this is if only 7 sevens are available in the next solar system in terms of our planetary rounds, and 4 more are available in our solar system, that's 11. So what do we need? 3 more. Where do we get those 3? When the solar system is exhausted. So maybe there's something special about the next solar system, which would allow these other beings to come in and experience their opportunity. Now, obviously, this is just reasoning, you know, it's still dealing with sequentiality and not with superimposition. But there's another possibility. Maybe the number 9 is important. So maybe the 14th 7 can transpire in the next solar system, or not. Anyway, what is the important point to gather from this? These laggards will have a long wait. Just in general, that's what we have to gather. The 14th 7th, their chance will come again. Now, we have to calculate the meaning of the 14th 7th. And in order to do that, we have a special statement that there will be 7 solar systems. Have you ever run into that? There will be 7 solar systems. I don't know where I put this thing. There it is. There will be 7 systems, though we're only concerned with the 3 major systems of which our present system is the second major system. This is a very important word. So how many solar systems will our solar logos work through? It says 7. If we go into the 7th system, which is of a completely different character than the previous major solar systems, then there is chance to reach the 14th, 7th. So do you really think, or does it seem, that these watchers will have to wait that long before opportunity presents itself again? It seems too long to me. But if you just calculate 14 sevens, that's what you arrive at. And there's a big problem with this 7th solar system. There are only 3 major solar systems. The last one, the present one, and the future one. What is the 7th solar system? What do you think? What can be the 7th solar system? What? Well, the 10th. Did someone say the 10th? Okay, but it is the 7th. Oh, well, you're counting like 7 more. Well, actually, we're in the 5th system right now. He says so. And the next one is the 6th. It is the 6th. So the next one after that is the 7th, but I want to call it a superimposed solar system in which the total synthesis of all the systems is operating at the same time. As a matter of fact, you know how DK oftentimes counts the whole as 1? He says, you got this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See what I mean? In other words, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wrapping the circle around the previous 6 to make the 7. Take 7 equal coins. Put down 1 coin, it's surrounded by 6. So there's something about the 7th member which is a part of all the members. So maybe in a way the 7th solar system is part of the 6th solar system process. But it would take that long. It would take that long for the 14th, 7th to come around. But look, do we need to trouble ourselves with all these details? We can reason about it. It's interesting. All we know is it's going to take a long time before opportunity comes again. And that's a principle for us. We say, okay, DK says that when you miss the opportunity for initiation in your life, you don't even know you've missed it. You've just missed it. And it will be a long time before the opportunity is presented again, probably maybe in your next life or two. The door closes and you don't know it. So we have to be very careful about our spirit, our occult obedience, don't we? Very careful. When we miss a real demanded opportunity under Saturn, let us say, we really miss something. We have to stay very alert, otherwise the door closes, nobody knows it, and on you go. And this was happening quite a bit. I remember him talking about one of his group members. He said, so-and-so made a very serious error in his choice. It will probably take him 2 or 3 lives to recover from it. Just imagine. We say, well, that's just what I choose. Well, what are the consequences? Delay. So not going with occult obedience at the time it is offered will promise delay, even on our little microcosmic scale. Okay, so the 14th, 7th eon will bring us into the 7th solar system, unless there's something going on in the 6th solar system which allows that to happen. Because only the 4th, 7th eon. Well, I just thought of something which distresses me. You know, there is one other possibility. Where did he start the numbering from? What if he started the numbering from individualization? Where would we be? Well, we'd be in the same place, because individualization took place on the in the 4th round. We'd be in the same place. No, so that doesn't work out. I'm trying to give them an opportunity in our solar system, but it's not working out. Okay, so they're meditating. Listen, they're meditating. There's no problem. Okay. Yes. Well, okay, there's no way for us to verify this. Even if 7 contains it all, you're still stuck with the 14th, 7th. You have to go through another 6, and then 7 contains it all. So, you see, there's no way for us mathematically to really work out what's going to happen. All we can do is generalize here and say a big delay is in store, and when do they get their chance again? And I think he kind of hints at when it is. He seems to hint that it's in the next solar system. They get their chance. Let's see if we can find it. So whether the 7th wraps itself around the 6th, or whether the 7th is the 7th, you have to go through 14 of those events before the time comes again. Now you could say, okay, what about the inner round? What about the idea that there are 10 chains? What about the idea that when the 7th round is over, there are these 3 inner chains in which revolutions are occurring? If there were 10 chains, let's see if I can put that down, point. If there were 10 chains in each scheme, then there would be 3 more rounds per 3 more 7th rounds per scheme. Now there's, Jeffrey Barborka even talked about 12 globes or 12 chains. But suppose there were, DK does say 10, 7, 3. He actually gives us a situation in which we count 10 chains per scheme. So what we would have is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 7. And then when we would go into the next solar system, we would have, so that's 7, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 7. And then we would go into the next solar system, and we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It would be then the 7th round in the next solar system would be an opportunity. It would be the 14th 7. If there were 10 chains in each scheme. Okay, what if there were 10 chains, 7th round? Then opportunity would come during the next solar system. So, what's the use of this? You say, well, this is just, way out there. But we want to understand how the planetary scheme actually operates. Now, he does, in Cosmic Fire somewhere here, he does, let's see if I can do it. 10, 7, no, we're not going to do that. 10, 7, 3. Well, no, it is there. He talks about the 10, 7, 3 and the 3, 7, 10. So in any scheme at different times, there are either 3 chains, 7 chains, or 10 chains. And a final condition may be the 3 chains. I'm not sure it goes 3, 7, 10, 10, 7, 3. He deals with this. But there are conditions in which 10 chains exist within the planetary scheme. All right. Now let's just do a little bit more here, and then we'll open the floor for some questions and comments. Oh, you see, it's just not behaving. It wants me to stop and let you go. Okay. But I won't listen. Okay. So where were we? Well, maybe at the 14th, 7th eon, we'll just wing it and not go through all this stuff. The sons of mind and heart, absorbed by endless flame. Whoa. At the 14th, 7th eon, the sons of mind and heart, absorbed by endless flame, will join the sons of will in manvantaric manifestation. This sounds very climactic, doesn't it? It sounds, especially this phrase, absorbed by endless flame. So maybe this opportunity for them comes only at a very synthetic point. When I read absorbed by endless flame, I think of the seventh solar system being some kind of synthetic fire of all of them. And then maybe that's when opportunity comes. But now we run into this interest. Now, this is what not actually. And now he's starting to use terms which involve human monads and solar angels and Buddhas of activity. He's getting them all together. And now we really have to differentiate. All right, there are Buddhas of activity, Buddhas of love, and Buddhas of power. Even the Buddhas of activity were planetary logoi in a previous Mahamanvantara. So they are very high beings. DK talks about these different types of Buddhas. In the previous solar system, the three present Buddhas of activity were planetary logoi along the third ray line. So then what about the Buddhas of love and Buddhas of power? Okay, but now he uses the term sons of will, sons of love, sons of mind. These are names for monads. Sons of will, first ray monad. Sons of love, second ray monad. Sons of mind, two things. Sons of mind are third ray monads, and they are also solar angels. There's a crossover there. So I've made a list of these terms. I don't want to get too pedantic about it, but he's thrown a lot of terms at us all at once. Let's just say there's going to be some great climactic moment when the sons of mind and heart, absorbed by endless flame, will join the sons of will in manvantaric manifestation. Okay, these are about monads joining each other. What did he say? Only a handful of the monads of power came in due to karmic result. Let's see if we can look at that. All right. Look, this is the most abstract stuff that DK has ever written. Or maybe he didn't write it. Maybe he just translated it from the ancient commentary. So it's not easy. It requires mind and intuition at the same time and pretty good learning about cosmic fire to try to interpret this. Okay. At the sixth or third major solar system, there will be emerging very much of the sons of will and sons of love. And we can wonder whether any third ray monads at all will be there. Okay, let's see where did I begin to make this list? Here they are. I run the risk of trying to push this too fast and getting confused, all of us. So there's a great perspective here, a mystery. A great coming together of all types of monads may be suggested in the seventh solar system. It may even be in the sixth. Can it be that there are solar angelic rays and which corresponding to the human sons of will, human sons of love, and sons of mind? Because those words represent monads. Now I wonder, have I written anything about these up here? No, this is all about the 14 sevenths. So I was kind of shocked when I read these different groups. For instance, if you have a second ray soul, do you have a second ray solar angel? Can a solar angel have a ray? Can a solar angel have a ray? Can there be a first ray solar angel, a third ray solar angel, blah, blah, blah? Why not? If planetary logoi have rays, and if solar angels in their groups become planetary logoi, why cannot solar angels have rays? So maybe we have associated with us a solar angel which can focus along a certain ray line. You know, like, let's say, a 6-ray solar angel refocusing as a second. That's possible. I don't think we change solar angels. But it's possible that the solar angels will have rays. None of that is discussed, but when we talk about some of these beings, we might wonder whether there can be solar angelic rays. The implications seem to be that somewhere in the manifestation of our present solar logos, those who refused will regain opportunity. But if the numbers are followed strictly, and we look for a 14th, 7th, then even the third major solar system must pass before this is possible. I'm going to give you all this so you can read it, you know. The sons of mind and heart, which are third and second ray monads, absorbed by endless flame, will join the sons of will in manvataric manifestation. This is certainly going to happen in the 6th or 7th solar system. Now, I ask myself the question, since we have so few third ray monads relatively in this system, their time will be gone. Will they even be able to be absorbed into the next solar system, or will it be all ray 1 and ray 2 monads primarily? Maybe. But the whole idea is by the time we reach the 7th solar system, maybe all three will be getting together for that final synthesis, whatever the 7th solar system may be. Okay. Now, I want to give you those names. 3 times the wheel will turn. What kind of wheel? Everything's a wheel, so what's turning now? What's turning? 3 times the wheel. What kind of wheel have we been talking about? We've been talking about in the, you know, what does it say here? Okay. I believe that wheel, the sons of mind and heart, absorbed by endless flame, I believe it is the wheel of the solar system. At the 14th, 7th eon, the sons of mind and heart, absorbed by endless flame, it sounds so climactic, will join the sons of will in manvantaric manifestation. 3 times the wheel will turn. I believe this is the wheel of our solar system. Okay. At the center stand the Buddhas of activity, helped by the Lords of love. Now it gets really interesting, and we may not be able to take the time right now to make this clear. But let me just read this last part, which will help us focus. We have to figure out what this wheel turning may be. At the center stand the Buddhas of activity, helped by the Lords of love, and following their twofold work will come the radiant Lords of power. Now, these Buddhas of activity usually are considered to be very high beings, but we have to watch out for whether DK is calling our monads Buddhas. We have to be careful. Okay. The Buddhas of creation from out the past have come. What's that? Third ray monads, probably. Or these higher Buddhas who were the planetary logo in the previous solar system. The Buddhas of love are gathering now in the second ray solar system. The Buddhas of will, at the final turn of the third major wheel, will flash into being, and the end will then be consummated. So we know one thing, that the time for the major third ray monads was the last solar system. The time for the second ray monads, of which there are 35 billion in our solar system, is now. The time for the first ray monads to come is the next solar system. That's monads. Now, what if we lift it onto the level of these high Buddhas? The Buddhas of activity were very active in the previous solar system. Maybe those high Buddhas of love, who must be at least equal to the Buddhas of activity in their stature, it's this solar system. Maybe the Buddhas of power and will come in the next solar system. So we're talking about 2 layers of being, the human monads and these high Buddhas, of which the Buddhas of activity give us an idea of the stature of these beings. Okay, and that's the end of the stanza, and not an easy one. But let's see who we could talk about here. There are Buddhas of love and Buddhas of activity. This may be the case in other planetary schemes as well. Here are some names. These are the names of the beings we have just been dealing with, and it's got to be our task to sort them out and find their levels. The Buddhas of activity are called Pratyeka Buddhas. They are of great development, but maybe the term also refers to monads. Buddhas of love, it seems, are related to human monads on the second ray, but also may be of the status of the Buddhas of activity, though on the second ray line. Buddhas of will are related to human monads on the first ray, but may be also of the status of the Buddhas of activity, though on the first ray line. Next, Lords of Love, which are perhaps Buddhas of love. But Buddhas of love can be considered monads, so we have to proceed carefully. There are Lords of Power. These are all names that are given. There are Sons of Mind, Sons of Heart, and Sons of Power. Those are all monads. There are Sons of Will, human. There are Buddhas of creation, Buddhas of action. What am I leaving out? All of these have been mentioned in this stanza and in adjacent stanzas. And we have to sort out where they belong. But what's the simple thing that we can say? Okay. I'll get to that in a minute. The question is DK calling the three main types of monads by the name Buddhas, or is he definitely dealing with those very advanced beings within our planetary scheme who stand in spiritual status equal, or nearly so, to the planetary logos? What does the term Buddhas mean? The Buddhas of creation from out the past have come. So if DK means the Buddhas of activity, they were planetary logoi in the previous solar system. The previous solar system means the past. They are also called Buddhas of action. The Buddhas of love are gathering now. So this probably means very advanced beings who were planetary logoi. Our probability is that these terms sometimes apply to very advanced beings who were planetary logoi in the previous solar system, or are applied to human monads. It's both. Here is the statement regarding the nature and function of the Buddhas of love. This is taken from Cosmic Fire. And this will show you these different levels: a globe level Buddha, a chain level Buddha, and a scheme level Buddha. In the mystery of polarity, we have three different types of force manifesting, and thus it is apparent that the two mysteries deal with 6 forces. These 3 types of forces are manipulated by the Buddhas of love. They, through their sacrifice, concern themselves with the problems of sex or magnetic approach on all the planes. The Buddhas of whom we speak and who contact The Buddha, of whom we speak, and who contacts his people at the full moon in Wesak, is one of the 3 connected with our globe, having taken the place of one who passed on to higher work in connection with the chain. So our Buddha is a Buddha of love, our Lord Buddha. For the same hierarchical grading is seen with respect to the Buddhas of action. This is a tough section. One group might be considered the divine carpenters of the planetary system, the other the divine assemblers of the parts of the ones who, through magnetic influence they wield, unite the diversities and build into form. So, okay, look, I'm a little concerned. I'm not going to, I'm going to turn to page 874 in a treatise on cosmic fire, and you're going to see 3 levels of Buddhas. I didn't copy the whole thing. I think here it is. Okay. Let's see if or maybe it's 873. That's it. That's it. Here it is. I'm sorry. All right. The mystery of electricity has 3 keys, each of which is held in the hands of one of the Buddhas of activity. Theirs is the prerogative to control the electrical forces of the physical plane, and theirs is the right to direct the three major streams of this type of force in connection with our present globe. Buddhas of activity, our globe. These three streams are concerned with atomic substance, etc. Now, next level Buddhas. And by the way, our Buddha is a Buddha of love on our globe, not our chain, because one of them moved up to the chain. First level Buddhas are globe Buddhas, and the Buddhas of activity are those, and maybe there are Buddhas of love and Buddhas of power connected with our globe. Now, next, in connection with our chain, there are three mysterious entities, of whom our three Pratyeka Buddhas are but earth reflections. They're still higher, who perform a similar function in connection with the electrical forces of the chain. In the scheme, the planetary logos has also three cooperating existences, who are the summation of his third aspect, and who perform, therefore, work similar to that performed by the three aspects of Brahma in the solar system. So, here's what I'm proposing. And I know this is complicated, but don't worry about it. It just gives you an idea. The number 27 is very important. On our globe, there are three Buddhas of activity, three Buddhas of love, three Buddhas of power. That's 9. In our chain, there are three Buddhas, of whom the Buddhas of activity are reflections on our globe, three Buddhas of higher love, of whom the Buddhas of love are a reflection, and three Buddhas of power. That's another 9. We will now go up to the scheme level, and you find another 9. What's the number altogether? It's 27. 27. Another 9, 2, and 7 together. So this is a very important statement about where the Buddhas of activity are found. And there's a lot of blinds in here, because Sanat Kumara, he came to our globe, and he's surrounded by three Buddhas of activity. He's an extension of our planetary logos. But on the chain level, you know, what we could do is start counting Buddhas. Have you ever seen these drawings that are found in the Buddhist artwork? The place is running over with Buddhas, isn't it? You have Buddhas everywhere, don't you? All we mean is great celestial beings, and their numbers are determined. So if on the globe level there are 9 on each, then 9 times 7 is 63. And that's why we are told that the hierarchy can only have 63 masters, after which 64 it has to regroup. So there's 63 for each, for the globe level. So the entire chain, in a way, well, I don't want to get into that, but suffice it to say, these numbers are important, and these great Buddhas exist in 3 different levels. All right, so tomorrow what I'm going to try to do, because I realize we are leaving some loose threads here, like the feeling that our minds may be coming apart. Yes, we will leave today's class in a state of total unravelment. Okay, it's 873 and 874. I want to put in 873. I'll deal with this. Put in 873. This is some of the most. This is a difficult stanza. This is a difficult stanza, very definitely. Okay. The Buddhas will, at the final turn of the major wheel, this is the 3rd major solar system, what will they do? Will flash into being. The end will be consummated, and that's that. Now, we want to be able to tie all these things together, and basically what we're saying here is that the solar angels refused. Opportunity will come. It'll probably be in respect to our present solar logos. The numbers 1, 2, and 3 will all be synthesized at some point. The monads of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd ray will all be synthesized, probably in the synthetic system, which we call number 7. Various Buddhas' activity will, and of love and of power will all get together in the synthesizing moment of our solar system, and the triangle will have its central point. In other words, we have a triangle up there. What's in the middle of the triangle? That's going to be the product of the 7th solar system. So I know this is, oh, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Okay. I know this has been difficult, and I will try to make some synthetic statements about this by tomorrow. So you can sleep on it. But meanwhile, I want to, okay, I tell you what, you know, you can see my face, but I can see your faces too. All right. So, okay. So now I have to ask you this horrible question, if I may. What did you learn today? and you know, besides, like, I'll never read the Stanzas of Dzyan again. Something like that, you know. Well, that's pretty good. Gisela, the last thing he actually remembers is having lunch. Excuse me. Let's look at this without the burden of the commentary. This is all about the synthesis that is coming. You see, one of the problems here is that the term Buddhas is used for the monad. This is what makes this complicated. In other words, you're a Buddha of the 6th initiation. You're a Buddha of the 7th initiation. Our monads can be that. So all of us, in our monadic nature, are Buddhas. But there are still these great beings who used to be planetary logi, and they are called by the name Buddhas too. And this is a problem. Now, when we're talking about the sons of, those are monadic names. Sons of will, sons of love, sons of activity. Those are monadic names. Sons of the sun, that's a monadic name. And at the same time, sons of mind can be a solar angel. So can a lord of will, a lord of love, those can be solar angels. So we have 3 kinds of beings we're dealing with. Human monads, watchers, and big Buddhas. And we have to find how they're all, big Buddha, we have to find how they're all cooperating to make a big synthesis in the 7th solar system, which exists and doesn't exist. So that's how this is all coming together. What has this stanza been about? Just trying to kind of, you know, wrap it all up. It began with watchers refusing to incarnate. They didn't want to come into the 7th. They were hugely delayed. What is the 7th? It's the 14th 7th. The 14th 7th takes us into the 7th solar system, which is, what is it? Is it a synthesis of all 6? And does it occur on a higher dimension in some way? So their opportunity comes. And what he's saying, okay, you missed your opportunity. But by the time this solar system is finished, you will again have your opportunity. And there will come a moment when all the monads will get together, 1, 2, and 3, all the Buddhas will get together, and all the types of solar angels will get together, and we will have a glorious synthesis of endless flame. What did it call it? What were we there? What was the word? Some kind of flame. It's all encompassing. Yeah. Here it is. Endless flame. Absorbed by endless flame. We are at a great conflagration at the 7th great system, synthesizing everything we've ever done, and all of these different aspects, 1, 2, and 3, will come together, and that's what it's all about. You miss your opportunity, but opportunity will come again at the great synthesis, boiling it all down. That's what it's all about. But you can see when DK starts, well, whoever it is here, using the same terms for different beings, that's a method of blinding. So as you begin to read this thing, we are Buddhas, and so are the Buddha's Buddhas. And so you have to keep it all straight. Well, see, this is the hint. The sons of mind and heart, absorbed in endless flame, will join the sons of will in Manvantaric manifestation. So, and there's a word connect up here. The obedient sons of mind, spot on its way, the sons of power stayed in their appointed, yeah. This is it. I didn't really have a chance to develop this idea. The obedient sons of mind, who are solar angels, this is the word. Look at this. Connected with the sons of heart. So the sons of mind in this case are solar angels, and they connected with what in this solar system? They connected with 35 billion second-ray monads who are called sons of heart. And evolution spiraled on its way. If you were a good solar angel, what would you try to do? You know you're here to serve a monad, don't you? Okay, so what are you going to do? Hello, Mr. Monad, what do you need done? So this is where the word connected comes in. The sons of mind are these solar angels. That's one name for them. But they connect with the sons of heart, who are second-ray monads. And how do we know that? And evolution spiraled on their way, but the sons of power stayed in their appointed place, though cosmic karma forced a handful to join the sons of heart. Meaning, why do we have so few first-ray monads in our solar system now? Only 5 billion. They are the sons of power who stayed in their appointed... Yeah, except a few of them were kicked in due to cosmic karma. A very few. But their time is coming later. Later, the sons of mind and heart will, absorbed in endless train, will join the sons of will. Now he's changed it. He's called it a different thing. He's not calling sons of power, sons of will. It's the same. In the next solar system, big first-ray monads come in, big first-ray monads, and the sons and the human beings who are sons of mind and sons of heart will join them in the third solar system. Now, the problem here is that the term sons of mind is a solar angelic term, and it's a monadic term too. And those little overlaps of the same terminology for different things create the blind. So you see how much attention must be given to sorting these matters out. But so what? We look at this stanza, and what do we say? There's cosmic timing. There's opportunity. You have free will. You can resist free will. You can be occultly disobedient. There will be a delay. You will, as a matter of fact, in the secret doctrine, it says some of those who refused to enter were really put into extremely ill-favored forms because the sin of the mindless had been committed. And then they had to work through forms that were horrible because their neglect had allowed ignorant animal man to create these forms. There are consequences to refusing occult obedience, but there will be a happy ending in the seventh solar system. And that's the essence of the whole thing, trying to simplify it. Okay, now let's get back to that horrible question. What did you learn today? What did I learn today? What did you learn today? We went through 2 stanzas. One stanza was about the beautiful, colorful causal body and its shattering. The other stanza was about occult obedience and the 30 billion that refused, probably entering in the next solar system, which makes me think they couldn't come in. It makes me think that they were the ones who were somehow connected with the monastic permanent atom demonstrating the first ray, and they just couldn't come in yet. Because the monads on the first ray could not come in. So they had no business trying to come in because the monads were delayed coming in. Yes? Okay, so let's let me just write this down. So Sanat Kumara is called the, I think a beautiful name, the point of blue within the diamond. Is that correct? Oh yes, that's important. Okay, what is I meant to get into that. What is the hidden diamond? What is the hidden diamond? What do you think? Well, first of all, there's an obvious answer, isn't there? In the egoic lotus, there is a hidden diamond, hidden for a while. That's for a while. But what about the diamond nature of the monad? See, it's almost like Sanat Kumara is the very essence of every monad because they are in a way emanated from him. So let's just say the hidden diamond can be seen as the jewel in the lotus or as the monad as jewel. Because we are told, I can find a place where it demonstrates that the monad itself is a seven-faceted jewel. Okay, what else? What else did we learn? Yes, one of them. In other words, the rod of initiation of whom? Of Sanat Kumara is called the flaming diamond. The other is the Bodhisattva's rod. The other is the sevenfold flaming fire, which is the rod of the solar logos. And then there is the cosmic rod, which may even be involved in, I don't know, Sirius or Pleiades, I'm not sure. The cosmic rod, it's hidden in the center. What is the center? Is it Sirius? Is it the Pleiades? Okay, so that's a very high consideration. What else did we learn? Okay, many agencies and sources which help with the destruction. Now, DK in Letters on Occult Meditation, he seems to say, okay, you can, you yourself can contribute to the destruction of the causal body. You can perforate it from within via the fifth ray. You can accumulate too much via the third ray. You can include everyone via the second ray. This will contribute to its destruction. But we've also learned that Sanat Kumara is touching the crystal sphere 7 times and releasing the inner fire. And that there are other agencies. Somewhere it tells us in here, yes, plus the group reinforcement of the word. Exactly. Yes, what else? Yes. Yes, the memory factor in the permanent atoms are stored in the permanent atoms of the triad. Of the permanent atoms are stored in the, in the permanent atoms of the triad. Yes, that's another thing. And we also learned that the jewel in the lotus goes to Atma Buddhi first before returning to the monad. Although sometimes the monad is called Atma Buddhi. But it seems to be within the triad. We have that particular statement. Even solar angels can be disobedient, apparently. It's very interesting. Now, the question is this a story projected into human form? Or is there really the possibility that, look, here's what I say to myself. If the planetary logos can make a mistake, why can a being who is not yet even a planetary logos not make a mistake? Could be. So solar angels, we have this free choice all along the way. And Master Hilarion tells us that great cosmic disasters are occurring all the time, and that even upon the highest steps you can fall back. So he presents quite a dire picture of evolution and cosmos. Okay, what else? Okay, we are let's say we are a fivefold one, and a solar angel is also a fivefold one. I'm using the capitals here, but solar angel is certainly a fivefold one. Now, but you would have to kind of leave out the, how would you count? Jewel and the 4 tiers of petals. That's kind of a fivefoldness. Or you could say, well, the solar angel didn't really provide the jewel in the lotus. The monad did, and the solar angel surrounded that jewel in the lotus with synthesizing, sacrifice, love, knowledge, and the 3 permanent atoms. That's fivefold. You can count in different ways. But the solar angel is always connected with the number 5, and a symbol there is the 5-pointed star. Okay, what else do we learn? Yes. Okay, the stronger our causal body is, the more we can receive from the triad. Because we saw the map, how the triad supports the causal body, right? You know, what does that really mean? You are an individual and you have certain ideas about how you want to serve the plan, but maybe God has other ideas. And maybe we have to listen to this great impersonal sphere when we want to know how to act. See, there's always that terrible moment when you say, look, I have all these gifts, I can use them this way. And another voice says, yes, but the need is over here. See, that's a difficult moment. That's what discriminates the 3rd degree initiate from the 4th degree initiate. Maybe even the 5th degree initiate from the 6th degree initiate. The DK says that Christ had a hard time in the Garden of Gethsemane because he had already, as the head of the hierarchy, worked out the salvation of humanity in his own terms. And then the Father aspect says, this is what I see for you. And the Christ says, okay, not my will, but thine be done. So it's acquiescence to the divine will at the 6th initiation, first time. Yeah. Okay, each center has a jewel or let's call it a crystal. Yes, and generally these jewels are 7-faceted. So if we have 7 major centers, we would have a number of 49, would we not? 7 times 7, 49, and that would give us the completeness. There's something about all of the chakras on all of the planes working through the centers of all of the jewels. It's all mathematically determined. Okay, what else? Solar angel has stayed with Martha for 10 million long years. Well, anyway, the idea behind that was that if many of us were moon-chain humanity, let us say, we came in at the Atlantean period. Maybe not the earliest Atlantean period, 12 million years ago, but maybe, 3rd subdivision of Atlantis, maybe 10 million years ago. I would talk to my friend Philip Lindsay more about exactly when that would take place, because he has more of the sense of the numbers. But 10 million years is a good time. And we called it a babysitting job, didn't we? Just for fun. My pet, the human being, long supervision. You would think that solar angels would need human kennels, wouldn't you? When they want to go on a trip or something, They want to, take a little vacation on the higher planes. Where are you going to leave your human being? Oh, well. Okay. Yes, the 5th petal must be activated before the solar angel really pays attention. Don't worry, it's activated. Is my solar angel paying attention to me? 5th petal activated before the solar angel enters what's called meditation deep and becomes a, quote, downward gazing soul. Yes, so the 5th petal is very, very important. Yes, and it's the double rose petal. We learned a lot about rose and blue too, didn't we? Rose and blue and the overturning of the cross. Okay, what else? Yes. Yes, that's that very difficult idea. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th initiations taken in the same life Usually, he says. That's what seems so strange. He says usually because, our experience is that they are very difficult. It doesn't mean always happens, but he does say so. And that's one of those initiations. Okay, that's one of those statements that makes people feel both encouraged and challenged at the same time. Yeah, I mean, really, you say, how in the world can that happen? It's a great incentive, but it's too much for me, It's just, how can I do that? Here is page 84, and it's at the end of this page. Many years elapsed between the birth and the baptism, but the remaining 3 steps were taken in 3 years. Once the second initiation is taken, the progress will be rapid, the third and fourth following probably in the same life, or the succeeding. Probably in the same life, or the succeeding. So where does the probably refer to? The same life, or to the succeeding, or to both of them? Probably in the same life, or the succeeding, probably both. So anyway, if you've taken the second degree, which is why DK said, I rate you highly, you have a high rating from us, the next life could see the taking of the 3 and 4, or this life could see the taking of the 3rd and 4th. So it's a great incentive, isn't it, to really work on the control of the difficult astral body, which signifies the taking of the second degree. And this man, he was a really good teacher, psychologist, author, blah, 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 but he was having a lot of trouble with his astral body. He was actually, can you believe it, he was getting angry with his students. Really. And he was saying irritated things to his students. Now that wasn't nice, and so he didn't take the second degree. I don't mean to trivialize that, but he was working at the peak of that intense emotional situation in his astral body. That was tough. And then he made a choice. And what did the choice do? It deferred the second initiation until the next life, or who knows when. Did you say, I should remember that? I'm remembering it every day. What about you? I'm always nice to the people that study with me, except when not. Okay. Is there anything else? Yes, anything else? Did you say the cave in the heart? Thinking in the heart, yeah. That's right. Thinking in the heart, because it says the true heart is the soul. That's what they actually said. And also, true eye is the soul. And let him see with the eye which looks out from between the two. Heart and soul are the same, and eye and soul are the same. We have 2 doctrines, the eye and the heart. They're both related to the soul. Yes, thinking in the heart. So it means to really think in the soul is what it really means. Well, occultism is a vast subject, obviously. It is vast. And we just have to persist knowing that the assimilation will come. We're dealing with the hard stuff here. This is the hard stuff. We're breaking our heads on the hard stuff, trying to use our intuition. You know what they say? Don't give me a beer. I want the hard stuff. Anyway, we have the hard stuff now. This is it. So if we have the patience to go through this, realizing that there are many pieces of the jigsaw puzzle which are not in place, okay, they will be in place. And we can misinterpret, of course, but we can also find a way to get a fuller picture of what we need to know. Now, so those are the things we learned. Let's see if there's anybody in the group. Ooh, the group has gotten smaller. Okay. Not too small, not too bad, not too bad. Let's just see if there's anyone. Oopsie. Wait a second. I could just have a short here, and Eric's not here. Okay, there we are. If there's anybody in the group that would like to say anything, so I'll take these off. I'll unplug here, and I'll put this on. And if you would like to say anything about what you may have picked up today in terms of understanding or questions or anything of that nature, then just raise your hand, and I will call on you, and you can speak, and the group that's here will hear you, maybe, if you speak up good and strong. Anybody who would like to say something? I see a hand, but I see no hand. I guess 6:30 is our time, isn't it? Do we have to eat or something like that? Or 6:15? Okay, let's just see. Andrew, are you there? Okay, it's Australia. Asha? Yes, Asha, are you there? Hello? Asha, are you there? Uh-oh, I'm not doing very well. This was a space language I just heard. Hello, Asha, are you there? Okay, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, it's not coming through, but hopefully you've all been able to hear something. And Ed, are you there? Ed? No? Now, this may either be shyness, rejection, rebellion, sleep, could be. Okay, Elena, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, Elena, your voice is ringing loud and clear. Okay.
Thank you.
Would you have any thought that you would like to contribute to this?
Well, there is so many things, you know, and I don't want to talk too much. Maybe from all the questions and whatever I can say, when we were talking about the destruction of the causal body and the fourth initiation, you know, it has always been on my mind when DK say that the fourth initiation is not taken on any cross.
Yes.
Do we find anything in this stanza which touch on this mystery?
Yes, it's not specifically astrological. Is there anything in the stanza about not taking the fourth initiation on a cross, on any particular cross?
No, because he is saying that it is taken between, neither on the fixed or cardinal cross, but in between.
Right.
You know, and this has always been on my mind, that where it is actually taking place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well...
And when we were going through the stanza, which is particularly related to destruction of the causal body and the fourth initiation, I was expecting to get some hint there. Did you get any hint of this?
Well, I think the emphasis in this seventh stanza was not very astrological. I think it dealt more with the forces that would destroy the causal body and with the wielding of the rod of initiation. I didn't, when I think about that,
yeah.
I think, and not necessarily from this stanza, I think about not having the benefit of using fixed cross energies or cardinal cross energies and somehow being thrown back on yourself without being particularly supported or lifted by energies which make the process easier. So, you know, in other words, I'm trying to define for myself what it means not to be on either cross. And it seems to me not using or not being supported by particular trends of energies which are found on those crosses. That's, you know, that's what occurs to me, but I didn't see anything in this particular stanza, number 7, which gave us the hint. It was more about the color.
Yeah, I know what you know, when we talk about all that, I'm just sort of bringing it up because somehow I was expecting something about this because he only mentioned it in one reference.
Yes.
You know,
exactly.
It is not the repeat. It is not repeated. Only in one place he said about it.
No,
and
that's true.
For me, it was related, you know, to the middle point. It's in the middle.
Yeah.
Of two crosses, you see?
Yes. Well, that's going to be a problem that will have to be, I think, worked out in a different way, but not necessarily with reference to this stanza. Okay. Well, you know, Ellen, I know you would have a half hour's worth of stuff to talk about.
So many things, you know, about the Buddhas and the number 9, but, you know, I don't want to take time, so I finish here.
Yeah, and Gisela has a point. What do you want to say?
I'm saying hello to
Gisela is saying hello to you, and others are too tired to raise their hand, but they also say hello.
Yes, I say hello to everybody, Marta, Gisela, and I don't know who else is there. Nice.
Well, the usual gang is here, so they're there, and they're happy to hear from you. And Anna is saying hello to you, and
Anna too. Hello, Anna.
Yes, everybody here. So you'll have to come here sometimes while there's still a Humlegor. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you. Thank you, Elena. Talk to you a little later. Okay. Very good. Okay. Let me just quickly question, and I'm sorry we're running out of time. Elena Menejou, are you there?
Hello from Athens.
Hello from Athens. Yes. Hi. Okay. Welcome.
I just wanted to say I'm very grateful for all this. Many new horizons opened in my mind. I'm very grateful. That's what I wanted to say for your loving presence and your humor. I need a brain transplant, though.
Well, Did you? I'm sorry, Ellen. What did you say?
I need a brain transplant.
A brain transplant. I think we all do. I think we're experiencing some sort of brain meltdown in the presence of these stanzas. You just don't know how eager everybody here is to go to dinner. So anyway, we put a couple of pieces of the jigsaw puzzle in place, and many questions remain. I'm glad you've been able to be with us, and thank you very much. When I run these future webinars, which are not in a class situation, then we will have much more chance to speak electronically. But for the moment, it's not so possible. But thank you for being with us. Appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's see. In Finland, Irmeli, are you there? Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay,
yes.
Emily, would you like to say something?
I would not say anything about this last stanza, but the one before was very interesting about the colors.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Yes.
About the colors. I'm anxiously waiting when we will have that color course.
Okay. Well, listen.
Course in colors.
Irmeli, some of your words are actually being transformed into musical notes at the moment. But we will have,
right.
Isn't that nice? We will have a class on color and music together sometime. We will need to do that. So thank you for the suggestion. Look, I'm just going to have to go quickly. I'm sorry. We have to leave. So I appreciate your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being with us. Talk to you soon. Okay. Johanna, are you there? Johanna,
yes,
are you
I'm there.
Oh, hello. Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can actually.
Hello?
If you speak up nice and strong. Yes.
Okay, thank you. No, I have nothing to say about the stanzas, but I'm very happy with your interpretation. So I follow it as much as I can, but because it is for me to check if my own interpretation is right.
Okay.
And
okay.
that helps me a lot.
Okay, well that's very good, and of course I think maybe none of us can know for certain about our interpretations, but
no.
Difficult, but we can get a feeling of confirmation. Yes.
It is more that my direction of thinking about it is right.
Very good. Okay, I'm glad that it is of some use to you, and as we labor over the centuries, we will clarify. Thank you very much for being.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being present. Okay, thank you. Linda, are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Linda. You're
Linda
coming
from London.
loud and clear from London. Very good. And we have 2 people from England here with us as well. So, is there anything you would like to say, Linda?
Just to thank you very much. I've enjoyed it, where I'm able to listen into it. Not been all day, but it's been very enjoyable.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. And the group appreciates the presence of the support of the members from afar. So thank you, Linda. We'll continue along these, and perhaps tomorrow more clarity will come. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Riza in the United States. Are you there, Riza? Are you there? Okay. Maybe not. And the last one, Vadna in Mexico. Vadna Sue, are you there? Hello. All right. Hello, everybody. And let's see, of our staff members, Brett, are you awake? Okay, maybe not. Michael, are you awake? No, okay. Tuya, are you there? Hello?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good, dear. Is there anything you would like to say?
I'm just quickly pointing out this, what was coming into my mind about the power of the fire.
Power of fire.
When we are talking about having a class of colors,
Colors?
I think we should have also a class of fire, because I'm just reading this from the stanza 6. The lighted flame within spreads through the rending walls. It mountains to its source.
To the source, yeah.
So I was thinking about Capricorn related to this space between. When we think about the creative hierarchies and the misorder of Sagittarius and Capricorn, and what Elena was pointing out about that the last initiation, the 4th, is not taking upon any cross.
That's true.
And I'm thinking about Capricorn crossing the waters.
Dear, listen, we're not having trouble hearing you. Are you speaking through a headphone?
No, I don't have headphone.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a good point. We have to get your...
Anyway, the Capricorn symbolism about the crystals and
Yes.
and diamond.
Yes.
And this something about that, how the fire, the flame mounts to its source.
Yes. So we'll have a class on fire, you are suggesting.
That's right.
As well as as well as a class on color. Very good. Thank you. Well, look, everybody. Everybody has stayed here for as long as they can. The dinner is calling, I suppose, and we will just have everybody one closing Om. Okay? Let's do that. Okay, thank you, everybody. We have had 4 stanzas so far, out of 13. But some of them are short, and we will continue tomorrow, unless, of course, you want to go to 11 o'clock tonight. Anyway, before you decide that, just have a bite to eat, and then we can all decide. Okay. Bye-bye. See you later. Okay, everybody who's in the electronic group, thank you for your attendance, and we will be back together tomorrow at 6:45 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 7:45 here in Denmark, and wherever it is for you. We'll be meditating on another stanza. Appreciate your attendance, and may clarity come. Okay, talk to you later. Lots of love. Good luck. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. 1, 2.